Hey everybody, live from the Hive, I'm Dr. B, and this is the Buzz on sun safety. One thing we like to point out in pediatrics is that 80% of the lifetime sun exposure someone's going to get occurs before age 18. That means by the time you reach adulthood, you'll have already gotten most of the skin damage that you're going to get in your lifetime. There's a baby with no sun protection, and not even that, but he's also indecent, and he could be arrested for this. The sun puts out two types of radiation, UVA and UVB, and they're both bad for your skin, but they have different effects. UVA causes deep skin damage and all those aging kind of signs. This is a classic picture that we see in medicine. This was put in, I think, the New England Journal of Medicine, and this shows someone who is a truck driver. And they're a truck driver for about 28 years. And they're driving the United States because they're going to be on the left side of the car, or the cab, I should say. And they're going to be getting a lot of exposure on just that one side of the face. So that side, his left side, was pointed towards the window, and he got a lot of sun exposure on his face. That comes from UVA damage, that deep skin damage in the aging. That can also lead to melanoma. UVB causes sunburns and non-melanoma skin cancers, but obviously there's going to be quite a lot of overlap. Melanoma can look different in different people, but this is a general picture of what a melanoma might look like. Lumpy, fast growing, different areas with different amounts of pigment in them. This needs to be removed before it grows bigger and starts metastasizing to the lungs, the liver, and the brain. This is a very dangerous skin cancer. If you get 5 or more severe sunburns, that can double the risk of melanoma in adulthood. People with fair skin, light eyes, light hair are at a much higher risk. And kids' skin is just so sensitive. Not only do you not want this risk, but also you just don't want to damage their skin. It's not the right thing to do. You got to protect them. Family history is also important as well. You got a family member who's had melanoma, that's also going to put you at a higher risk. What's the best way to prevent sun damage? Avoiding the sun altogether. I don't mean crawling in a closet and living there. I mean not staying out too long. Try not to get a lot of direct sunlight. Even back in 1910, when this picture was taken, these people used shade, they used umbrellas, they used a sun hat. Actually, I think they look pretty cool. The guy in the middle looks pretty happy to be there. He's got a nice straw hat on. But protecting yourself from the sun with these physical blockings, this is the best thing that you can do. More modern babies, they're going to have the little guy on the right, maybe needs a little more coverage, but at least he's got on a rash guard. He's got on a hat with the brim. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for. This is lightweight, long sleeve clothing. That's what we want to find. They do make it with SPF ratings. That's what you want to look for. 30 is usually the number that we go with. But remember, even with those clothing ratings, if you're out long enough in direct sunshine, you definitely can get sunburned. If you're using sunscreen, you don't want to use it less than about 6 months of age. The skin is thinner. There's a higher risk of absorbing the chemicals from that. Generally, we don't like to talk about using sunscreen in young babies because what it gives people is a false sense of security that I can put this on and go outside and everything's going to be fine. That's not true at all. You really need to try not to stay out too late, even if you do use a good sunscreen. The kind of sunscreen we recommend in babies 6 months and up is using a mineral sunscreen like zinc oxide. That's going to be the best. Titanium dioxide is also good. And using them to small areas that are exposed. Even if you use these safer ones, like I said, they can give you a false sense of security. So don't just put it on and stay out there and say everything's going to be fine. You're going to end up with a bad sunburn. Now, older babies and young children, toddlers, they're going to be running around. They're going to be hard to keep track of. And it's especially important to make sure that you get good sunscreen on them and use hats, rash guards, that kind of thing. Here's a kid who has been just probably running all over the beach. You can see it at one point he had a shirt on and that was protecting him, but now he's really badly sunburned. It's still a great idea to use hats and rash guards on these kids because you're probably not going to be able to control them too well. But setting a timer, having them come back every 20 minutes, get that more sunscreen on is going to be the best thing to do. What you want to do in these kids, again, a broad spectrum, so UVA and UVB sunscreen. I'm not going to endorse any particular ones, but this is what we do have in our house. CeraVe hydrating mineral sunscreen. This is SPF 50. It goes on white, and if you don't like that, you don't want to look like me, then you're probably going to want to get this next one. They do make mineral UV sunscreens that are tinted, and they have all kinds of different skin tones, so that you don't look like me, look like some kind of old-fashioned lifeguard. But SPF 30 plus is what you want to use in any of these sunscreens. The SPF 30 means sun protection factor 30. It means you're supposed to be able to stay in the sun 30 times as long before burning, but in the end, you will burn. So make sure that you do not stay out for too long. These mineral sunscreens are usually water resistant, and they are the least irritating for your skin, and they're also good for the environment. They don't damage reefs. Now, there are some sunscreens that we don't recommend. Spray sunscreens are one type, and you can see in this picture here, this was supposedly someone who used spray sunscreen. Could also be someone who just applied the wipe-on type unevenly, but generally use that spray sunscreen. You're not going to get it on very even, and this person is paying the price for that. We also don't recommend sunscreens that have oxybenzone, avobenzone, octinoxate. Those may actually irritate the skin. They do. There are some hormone concerns. They are related to human hormones, and they don't last very long, so we don't recommend them. They're also not reef safe. So if you're the type of person like me who wants to protect the environment, the mineral sunscreen is going to be a lot safer. Also, we don't recommend combinations of sunscreen and bug spray, because if you're going to reapply this, you're going to be reapplying that bug spray as well. And those are just chemicals you don't want to put on your skin over and over and over. So if you're going to do both of those, please separate them. Get something safe in each category and apply those. When you're using sunscreen, make sure that you apply it 15 to 30 minutes before you go outside. If you use a mineral sunscreen like we recommend, those work pretty much immediately. So you can put those on and go outside without having to wait for these things to dry or anything. Use a lot of that mineral sunscreen. Get it on the nose, get it on the exposed areas especially. And again, make sure you're using a brimmed hat and some lightweight, breathable, but SPF rated clothing. Also, make sure that you are hydrating well. It's very hot out there, so you got to get lots of fluids into your baby. Reapply these sunscreens very often, every couple hours, especially if you're swimming or you're going to be sweating or exercising. And use a lip balm that has SPF protection. You know, the best thing to use is just take some of that zinc oxide mineral sunscreen that you're using, put it on the lips. It's not toxic if just a little bit gets in the mouth, and it's not going to irritate baby's sensitive skin. Now, I want everyone to get outside, get some sun, get some of that good old vitamin D. I'm going to get back out to my pool in a few minutes, but you got to do this safely. Think of the physical barriers first. Think of not being exposed to too much sunshine first. Think of the sunscreens second. The next thing we're going to talk about is bug sprays, keeping the mosquitoes away. We're going to do that later this week. And then at the end of the week, we'll have Friday checkup with Dr. J. Thanks for watching. Y'all know me, I'm Dr. B, and this has been The Buzz on Parenting and Pediatrics. We'll see you later.